Everybody's talking about his Tank came out and said he was gonna retire. Is that really happening?
Recently, Gervonta Tank Davis sent shockwaves through the boxing world by hinting at his retirement, leaving fans and analysts in a state of disbelief. The 30-year-old star, known for his explosive power and quick finishes, revealed that he was contemplating hanging up his gloves after a career filled with knockout victories. But why now, and what does this mean for the future of the sport? Davis, whose popularity has only grown over the years, particularly after his stunning wins over top opponents like Ryan Garcia and Rolando Romero, shocked the world once again when he announced that 2025 could be his last year in the ring. His potential retirement comes on the heels of a successful career that has seen him claim titles in multiple weight divisions and amass an impressive record. In a recent interview, Davis admitted that life had changed significantly for him, especially after becoming a father. He explained that having kids, particularly girls, had made him reassess his priorities, with family now taking precedence over boxing. Things are different when you have kids, he said, acknowledging the profound impact parenthood has had on his outlook. Despite being just 30 years old, Davis expressed frustration with the sport, even going so far as to call boxing trash and garbage. This statement, understandably, upset a portion of his fan base who had hoped he would continue to fight and prove himself against the best in his division. However, Davis seems to be more focused on the financial side of his career, as well as his desire to move on to different pursuits. He stated that boxing had become a brutal sport and that the sacrifices it demanded had lost their appeal. With the rise of his popularity and a growing financial portfolio, it seems the desire to fight has waned, with Davis seeking other outlets for his energies. During a press event, Davis appeared irritated when the topic of his future in boxing came up. He expressed that while he was still focused on his upcoming fights, his heart was no longer fully in it. This apparent lack of passion was evident when he mentioned his fight with Lamont Roach Jr., scheduled for March 1, 2025, at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Roach, a current super featherweight champion, was described by Davis as a tough competitor, but not someone he viewed as a significant challenge. "I feel like Lamont has skills, but he's smaller than me," Davis said. "He's one of the guys I started with in boxing, and I respect him, but I don't think he's on my level." Davis's comments about Roach and his apparent frustration with the sport highlight his internal conflict. On the one hand, he's still under contract with PBC Premier Boxing Champions, which includes several more fights, but on the other hand, he seems disillusioned by the sport's politics and the endless demands placed on him. Leonard Ellerb, his longtime promoter, acknowledged that Davis' perspective had changed over time, noting that the fighter's priorities had shifted due to personal growth and the arrival of fatherhood. Ellerb defended Davis' decision to contemplate retirement, stressing that life outside the ring was just as important, if not more so, than boxing. "It's easy to be critical from the outside, but life is about more than just what you do for a living," Ellerb explained. Tank Davis' decision to retire has raised questions not only about his career, but also about his legacy. Davis was asked whether he considered himself one of the greatest fighters of all time. His response was telling, "I don't even care about that," he said. "Where I am from, I'll forever be the greatest to myself." This declaration highlights Davis' indifference to public opinion, emphasizing his personal satisfaction over any external validation. His desire to walk away from the sport with his health intact and on his own terms seems to be a guiding principle at this stage of his life. The timing of Davis's retirement announcement has left many wondering about the future of the lightweight division and, more specifically, his upcoming fights. After all, fans have long hoped for a showdown between Davis and other top fighters, such as Shocker Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and, of course, Ryan Garcia. However, Davis' frustration with his current circumstances and his desire to step away from the sport could prevent these dream matchups from happening. Stevenson, in particular, has been vocal about wanting to fight Davis, but the two have yet to meet in the ring. Davis, for his part, has dismissed Stevenson's accomplishments, claiming that the young fighter has done nothing of note in the sport. Despite Davis' frustrations, there are still a few more fights on the horizon before he officially steps away from the ring. His upcoming bout with Lamont Roach Jr. will be his second defense of his WBA title, and it seems Davis is treating this fight seriously, even though he doesn't view Roach as a significant threat. Davis has made it clear that his focus now is on money and legacy, not necessarily on proving himself against the toughest opposition. As such, it's unlikely that he will engage in a high-profile showdown with Stevenson or Lopez unless the financial rewards are substantial. The situation has drawn mixed reactions from boxing insiders and fans. Some believe Davis is simply taking a break and that his retirement talk is merely a tactic to generate buzz and increase the value of his upcoming fights. Others, however, see his comments as a genuine reflection of his dissatisfaction with the sport. Tim Bradley, a former champion and analyst, has been critical of Davis' career path, accusing him of fighting a protection program. Bradley believes that Davis has been carefully managed to avoid facing the toughest competition, which has led to a perception that his record is inflated. "Tank looks good, but it's covering up the truth," Bradley stated. "They keep bringing up opponents from smaller weight classes to fight him. Put him in the ring with someone who can punch back." This criticism highlights the tension within the boxing community about Davis' legacy. While he has built an impressive resume, many feel that he has avoided the toughest challenges, opting instead for opponents that are either less experienced or coming from lower weight classes. Davis' recent behavior, including his outburst about not being invited to the Ring Magazine Awards, further fuels the narrative that he feels slighted by the boxing establishment. At the same time, Davis supporters argue that he has earned the right to choose his opponents and that his dominance in the ring speaks for itself. Adding to the drama, Davis also criticized fighters who have taken lucrative paydays to fight in Saudi Arabia, claiming that they were only doing so because they couldn't sell tickets in their home countries. "I sell where I'm from," Davis said, referencing his ability to draw crowds and generate excitement in the U.S. "I don't need to go over there to fight. I can make money here." While Davis' comments may have been an attempt to defend his decision to stay in the U.S., they also cast a shadow over the growing trend of fighters seeking big money fights in the Middle East. Despite the controversies surrounding his career, Davis remains one of the most electrifying fighters in boxing today. His combination of speed, power, and charisma has made him a fan favorite, and his knockout victories have cemented his place as one of the top lightweights of his era. But with retirement looming on the horizon, the question remains, what's next for Tank Davis? Will he push through his frustrations and continue to fight, or will he retire and walk away from the sport forever? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, his legacy, for better or for worse, is already secured. As Davis prepares for his fight with Lamont Roach Jr., his fans and critics alike will be watching closely, hoping to catch a glimpse of the fighter they've come to know and love before he potentially walks away from it all. Will 2025 be the year Tank Davis finally calls it quits, or will he continue to thrill audiences with his knockout power for just a little longer? The answer may lie in the ring, but it's clear that Davis is already thinking about his future beyond boxing. Whatever that future holds, it's sure to be just as dramatic as his career in the ring.